What is going on, people? This is not something that I was expecting to waken up to, and also I would say trigger warning moving forward, in case this information will trigger you. Okay. Now, with that being said, Danielle Yates and Mary Pants, as well as Keegan Kibitz, these are three women who have obviously discovered this information and decided to share it with the public, which I am forever grateful with. Okay, Danielle is somebody that used to be on 90 Day Fiance with her husband Johan. Okay, and Mary Pants is a blogger, a 90-day blogger on the IG, as well as Keegan Kibitz being one on YouTube and also IG as well. Okay, I think they're probably on X as well, I'm not too sure. But with that being said, for the people who don't know, the man that we are going to be speaking of, who has been caught being on the sexual offenders and predator search, is a man that goes by the name of George Moy. That's what people know him as, but as you can see, his first name is actually Lloyd, then his middle name is George Moy. Okay, this is the person that has now been caught as a registered offender, which is definitely not something that any one of us wanted to wake up to see. So I'm going to get into exactly what Danielle had to say on the side here, and then also give you guys a quick little background on who George is, okay, or where he usually, does his business online. Now, Danielle came out by stating in the description itself in particular, if I'm taking time on my feed to post about this, is because it is so profoundly disturbing, but also exactly what I'm talking about in my newsletter this week. This man has dragged and abused so many of us with fake accusations and body shaming and desperate pleas for attention. When I tell you that a true and perfect example of a narcissist is a registered sex offender who begs and pleads to be a public figure by trying to drag other public figures, this is textbook narcissism. Normally, a registered sex offender wouldn't go out of his way to make a public platform, even when going by his middle name. In the world of AI, the face recognition software is everyone's enemy when you're leading a double life. Kudos to Keegan Kibitz for letting us all know that a man with season passes to Walt Disney World and spends every day of his life there is a registered sex offender. I have had so many arguments with cast members about how gross this man is. But because it's cool to stay in the good graces of bloggers so that our feelings don't get hurt, we often like disconcernment. I promise you, if an individual is hell-bent on making a career out of destroying other people's lives without reason, it is only because he has destroyed his own and he doesn't want anyone to notice. I'll share the link to the receipts offered by Mary in my stories. If you see this individual at Disney, run. George Moy, real name Lloyd. Now, also, extra information that was also given, okay, which was given on on Mary Pants' page, is that in this image itself in particular here, which I will actually zoom into for you lovely folks, okay, you will see that this man was literally, do you know what, that is not a good, sorry, that's a bit blurry. Let me get you guys a better view of that. Okay, here we are. So as you can see here, in this image itself in particular, okay, it clearly exposes, this is not centered, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, okay. So as you can see here, it clearly exposes that this man was arrested at the age of 40. He is now at the age of 41. So him being on the registered list, sex offender register list, is recent because his arrest was at the age of 40. He's now 41. Okay, it says here that the date was last year. I believe that is September 1st, okay, of 2024. This is outrageous. So this isn't even an old one, but to be quite frank with you, even if the arrest was old, it happened like many years ago, it still wouldn't make a difference, because I promise you now, I would not want to go to anywhere with my child if I had a child, knowing that this man was going to be there. And as you can see, this is somebody that Kimberly has notoriously spoken about multiple times and co-signed as her bestie, as her favorite blogger. But at the same time though, Kimberly has never been very good at judging characters. So does it surprise me that her favorite blogger just happened to be somebody that now has a criminal record for being around children in an inappropriate way? No. Now also, from what I've been told, he solicited a minor under the age of 13. that was exactly what he was arrested for. Okay, solicited a minor under the age of 13 is what I have been told. Absolutely grotesque, absolutely disgusting. But who is the man in the picture here who's also pictured next to him? This is somebody that goes by the name of Shaboody, okay, ladies and gentlemen. So Shaboody is somebody else who is a blogger on the IG. And if I was Shaboody personally, what I would do is I would remove any links with George. Now, Shaboody and George share a podcast along with Coco, as you can see here. The first thing that I would be doing if I was Shaboody, so I would not be tired with this man's madness, I would be removing him off of the podcast instantly. In fact, I would delete every single episode I've ever filmed with the guy, as well as also rebranding that post in particular, because if your name is close to him, tied to George, that's not looking good for you. People are not going to want to, come to your page to obviously outgrow your following anyway, and people are going to want to associate with somebody that is happy to be around somebody who recently got arrested for literally soliciting a minor of under the age of 13. Absolutely disgusting behavior. Now, I will say this: anybody that lives in Florida, I would imagine, and anybody that takes their child to Walt Disney, I would imagine that the first thing that you would want to do as of right now is to legit email them, or the next time you go there with images to make sure that this man is banned from the resort, because this is absolutely disgusting. All right, now normally I would also show you the profile of the person that we are talking, which is obviously George Moy. Obviously today I can only show you the profile of who he obviously does business with the most, and that is Shaboody, which I've just shown you guys with also the podcast. But the reason why I can't show you is because this man blocked me off IG I don't know, some point last year, purely because I did a reaction to one of the podcast videos that Lauren was on. It is on my page, and obviously Lauren was saying a few things here and there, and George kept saying comments that just made no sense, and literally all I did was say, hey, like, you need to stop talking, because the things you're saying are exposing how uneducated you are on just international life. And weirdly, he took offense to it and decided to block me. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. Don't really care. Never spoke to the guy anyway. Nor did I actually follow him myself. So it was kind of weird for someone to literally block me when I don't follow them and I don't speak to them. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just how some people be sometimes, okay? So with that being said, so therefore I can't show you guys his profile to show you the kind of post that he was making. And the reason why that would have been crucial is because it would have then supported some of the things, or at least I would have been able to give you guys proof of what Danielle says in her description. So for example, she says this man has dragged and abused many of us with false accusations and body shaming and desperate pleas for attention. Okay, so obviously normally I would have gone to that page to see what he is actually posting, so therefore I can obviously expose that itself in particular, but obviously it's not there for me to see. But I will say though, like I said before, he is very close with Shaboody, and Shaboody, from what I understand, recently was called out for his treatment towards Jasmine. From what I understand, I'm not too sure, but either way though, it doesn't look good that recently he was called out for the obviously treatment towards Jasmine, for also for pretty much bullying her, and I think maybe women in general, I'm not too sure. But then to have that on your page, and now people are knowing that you are in a position where you lay names with George. Again, if I was Shaboody, I would be cutting ties ASAP. Okay, but let's also talk about some of the other things that Danielle spoke about. So obviously she speaks about the fact that he has abused many of us, which I would assume she's talking about cast members, as well as also false accusations and body shaming. That's a plea for attention. But also on top of that, okay, there's also another factor here that we also have to again enhance, and that is the fact that he has a season passes to Walt Disney World. He's obviously had them for years. From my understanding, George has kids, but he's no longer with the mother. But I've been told that apparently he does see his kids on a regular basis. I can only imagine that that person, the woman that obviously he had kids with, may not want him around the kids anymore. I don't know, but I'm just putting it out there because it is quite disgusting that we do. It's like, remember Michael from the first season, 90 Day Fiance, somebody who had a kid with the woman that he was with, and then next thing you know, he gets arrested for having a bunch of madness on his computer. The only difference with Michael is that he got caught for having things on his computer. This guy here literally got caught for actually facilitating something with an underage child, which is arguably can be far worse. I don't know, but to be fair though, Michael did go down in prison. This guy hasn't, which is very interesting. I would like to know more on that itself in particular. But also on top of that, another thing that I also want to stress at is Danielle makes a very good point about how cast members, she's had arguments with many cast members, and a lot of them, you know, just wanted to stay cool with, you know, with bloggers. First and foremost, I don't know why cast members would give a flying F about being friends or being buddy with a blogger. You choose to go on a TV show, and at the end of the day, when you go on a TV show, you are going to open yourself a potential backlash. If you can't handle it, then you can't handle it. It is what it is. Secondly, bloggers should not be going out of the way to make buddy with cast members. Why? Because we have a responsibility, or at least, you know what? My apologies. Let me speak for myself, because for me, I have a responsibility to make sure that my reactions are always authentic, and then they are never shaded by the fact that I may be close with said person. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, I've got a relationship with one, you know, one customer, maybe two others as well, to be honest with you. But trust me when I tell you, it is never ever one bit defined how I was going to report on that person. I still did it exactly the same way, sometimes even worse, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But hey, we live in a life where people just want to be buddy, when in reality, we all have a responsibility to what we are doing our work for. Obviously, I come on here to make sure I give content to my own honest opinion, okay, as much as I can for the people that want to listen to my voice. And I would imagine that would be the same for others, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, though, this is the situation here with this man, George. I will be looking to see if there's any more information out there, because I would like to know how, you know, this went down. Because like I said before, we're in a position here where we are looking at the fact that this man, arrest information literally was of last year, and his arrest was at age 40, and he still managed to be on the list. Now, if you're going to end up being on the sexual offenders and predators search, it must mean that you were found guilty. Otherwise, why would you be on it if he was not guilty? You see what I'm saying? So I'm curious, why has he not served any time yet? Or what was his punishment? Again, if I'm able to find out more information regarding that myself, I will let you guys know. But I will say this before I leave. Shout out to Danielle, obviously a former cast member of 90 Day Fiancé with Johan. Still don't know why the hell she's still with that guy, but that's a whole nother conversation. And shout out to Mary Pants for also being a part of this. And also, from my understanding, Keegan Kibitz is the person that actually founded this information and then shared it with these said people. So shout out to her for her work on that as well. Okay. And like I said before, if I was Shibuti, I'll be distancing myself ASAP. And if anybody is in Florida and you are going to the Walt Disney thing, or even if you're not even in Florida in particular, people need to start sending emails to them and letting them know that this man cannot be on this premises ever again, because why would you want him anywhere near that? And as the last message says, if you see this individual at Disney, run. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.